The Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 4, Here's Not Here. This episode really surprised me because I didn't expect that this one was going to be sort of all about Morgan. Like when I saw the promo for from the last episode, it was like, okay, it looks like Morgan's on the beach somewhere. So I was like, there has to be a flashback because I'm assuming they didn't just up and go somewhere and enjoy a nice little sunset where he could train. So I was like, I'm assuming there's going to be flashbacks. I did not expect this entire episode to be Morgan telling a story to the wolf that he faced. I believe it was even last season he met that guy, and then in the last episode he has to deal with him. So, or 2 episodes ago he kind of takes the guy out. So I was very surprised by how they did this episode because, like I said, for one, had no idea it was going to be strictly flashbacks, or really not even flashbacks. It was a flashback. Like the whole episode was in the past except for the very beginning and very end. So technically just one really long flashback, and that's all there was to it. But I enjoyed it. It was fun watching Morgan change from basically a guy who's flat out insane. Like they give us a little, like the recap from the Clear episode where Michonne's like, I think he's dangerous. It was because he was kind of losing it a bit. And we see that he was losing it like crazy. Like he was very different from what he is right now. Like he's like this pacifist character and stuff. And we didn't really see too much of him. Like we had the scene where, the Clear episode, it was like, okay, we have Morgan again, that's pretty cool. And he seemed a little dangerous and stuff, and he of course had like defenses around the whole town and stuff like that. But he didn't seem like he was absolutely nuts. And it didn't seem like he was kind of just a murderer or anything like that. But he definitely was. Like, he lost his mind. He, like, basically, he reached this point of no return. And he burned down, his safe house. Took, a machine gun. And that was it. He had an assault rifle, and that was it. And then he just, made spears. And so we go through and we see stuff, and it's like, okay. He has this whole thing where he's, putting blood and stuff on rocks. Kills zombies, burn the zombies. Finds people, instantly kills them. Granted, those people were following him and he was already in a crazy state. But we get kind of an explanation where that wasn't it. That wasn't the only thing where it's like, oh, they're following me, so I have to defend myself and kill them. Which he definitely does very quickly. He killed the guy, he stabbed him and killed him. And that's what kind of shocked me, because it was kind of weird watching that first kill. After the Morgan that we've had for the last season and this season, it was really weird actually watching him kill people, because I was like, it's weird. It was honestly very weird, and we've only had him as like pacifist Morgan for like a couple of episodes, and we've technically only seen him encounter bad guys in 2 of those episodes, and that was the last one, or the one before last, and then the episode where he met the guys telling the story to now. So we've technically only had 2 episodes of him actually fighting as a pacifist, but it was still interesting. Like, he killed this guy, possibly father and son, we really don't know, but he kills this guy automatically when he runs around the tree, and he chokes the other guy. He just chokes him to death, and that was it. He just left the whole scene, and then he finds the house and stuff, and he finds the goat, and the guy Eastman's like, please get away from my goat. I'm still trying to figure out how to make cheese and stuff like that. And so he gets knocked out, and then we go through a very interesting look at Morgan where he wants to die. Like and this didn't even change. I was really surprised when it happened at the end, but when he first meets the guy, he's like, kill me. When that happened at the end after Eastman was bit, I was very surprised. I thought for sure, or I guess it was like right before he was bit, after they did the little training thing, because Morgan got really mad. So it didn't change. Like, until the very last minute, it didn't really change. He wanted to die. And who knows, like, at this point, like, honestly, even though they went through, this course of action with his character, I still kind of wonder if he feels that way, because he didn't want to, he didn't want to take these other people's lives, but I don't know, like, it was still sort of a defense type of thing. It wasn't like he was talking to Rick or someone he knew, where it's like, oh, I'm stopping you because you guys I know are bad, so I'm going to stop you from killing other innocent people. But if it happened with, like, Rick or someone else, if they actually got into a fight, I'm still not 100% sure he wouldn't kind of revert back to that and just say kill me, because even in this episode, like after everything he went through, he still wanted Eastman to kill him when he got beat. Like that was all there was to it. He was still like kill me, and it was like he reverted back. You know, however long he was there, I'm not really sure, they don't specify, but I'll just assume like we can say like maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and he instantly reverted right back. So I'm still not 100% sure where he's at mentally. Like he's in his pacifist mode, but as far as his own life, I'm still not 100% sure where he is. Like if someone else, of the group kind of had it out for him, I don't know if he'd revert back to that. Like I'm still not sure. He doesn't revert back, fighting against bad guys, but I don't know. That question's still in the air for me. I don't know. You guys can let me know how you feel about it, but I was still a little cautious. I was like, I'm not 100% sure if he's just totally fixed just because of what happened. But I still really enjoyed this episode. It was a very nice look at, Morgan's transition into the Morgan that he is right now. But we also got a great character out of Eastman who I personally thought was really cool. I liked his character. He was pretty funny. He's very nice. Like even when they have the fight and he has to like stop Morgan, all he kept saying was like, I gave you two options, either the door or the couch, and he said it in the middle of the fight, and he said it after he actually beat Morgan. It's like I said, I gave you two options. And, clearly after he got pushed against the wall, something broke that was important to him. It was like either the couch or the door, and he let Morgan choose still, and then they end up bonding and stuff like that. And I liked his character, and he talks about a very dark past that he had with being a psychiatrist or like a profiler, and just like probably one of the worst stories we've honestly had in the series so far, where he talks about how this basically a serial killer, a psychopath, knew that he was busted, knocks him out, but he was so cunning that even after everything that happened and he was sent to jail and stuff, he still escaped. And all he did, and this is something that would be like just an insane movie, he goes to this guy's house and kills his entire family just because this other, because he got busted by the psychiatrist. And that was it. He turned himself in, and, this guy's life was completely destroyed. And it was just because this guy was a psychopath. It was like, you busted me, and that kind of sucked. So I'm going to escape prison, which I could totally just leave, but I'm going to go kill your family and then turn myself in and just, go back to prison because it was just to basically get revenge on you, and that's it. And that was an incredibly dark story. And, the fact that Eastman got his revenge, which we find out by the end, where he says, because initially it's like, oh, I wanted to put him in that cell, and that's why there's a cell there, because when Morgan first woke up, that was the first thing I thought. I was like, why is this cell inside this guy's house? So we get the story, and it seems like, oh, he kind of became a pacifist during that time, and it was able to kind of help him get past everything that took place. And then we find out at the end when he's about to die that that's not what happened. He made it seem like, I find all life precious and stuff like that. And instead we find out that that was his sort of final act of revenge. And he did exactly what he said. He did take this guy off the road, and he took him to this cabin, locked him up, and he watched him starve. I believe he said it was like 43 days or something like that. And he watched this guy die, and then he, once that happened, that's when he officially turned, and it was like he kind of realized, like, even though everything he'd gone through, he enacted his revenge for that, it still doesn't change what happened. It doesn't, of course, it didn't make him feel better, like, in any way. And so he kind of changed all around. And I like that story of that character. Of course, it sucks that we lost that guy, because I actually thought, like I said, I liked this character. He was pretty interesting. Just the way that he was living seemed like a normal life, because, the goat would be out there, Tabitha's just, like, oh, she's making a lot of noise. Boom, he takes out, one of the zombies. He gets their information, which, when they did that, I was like, I don't know if that makes a lot of sense. Like, I guess it does, because some people would probably think that way, like, I should, even though I'm in a zombie apocalypse, at least people can know my name after I die. But I was like, I would, in no way, I don't think I'd have my wallet on me for any reason. Like, the zombie apocalypse. But at the same time, you never know. It's just the smallest thing to kind of hold on to what happened. In that regard, I think it does make a lot of sense. But it seems simple. He was like trying to make cheese the whole time. He's a vegetarian and talks about possibly going vegan and stuff like that, or thinking about it, or thought he would. And I just like this character, and sadly, he suffers from probably the number one cause of death in any sort of apocalyptic thing, whether it's zombies or monsters or whatever. You help somebody else, like he grabbed Morgan and pulls him back, which, of course, he could have just, hit the zombie in the face, but instead it's like, oh, look out, he gets bit in the stomach, and it's like, well, he's dead. And I figured he was, like, even when the episode started, I was like, I'm assuming he's gonna die, because we don't meet this character. It would have been amazing if Morgan actually left, and he did stay there, and he was just still alive and stuff. I think that would have been very interesting. Just, he's like, no, this is just what I'm doing now, so that would have been cool. But sadly, he suffers the typical fate where it's like, oh, I'm going to help this person live, and then, oh, look at me, I'm going to die. So that really sucked. I always hate when that happens, and it's like, God, it just makes you think about the apocalypse, and it's like, oh, man, I want to help everyone, but I don't want to do it if it's going to get me bit in like this random moment where I could easily protect myself, but I got bit because, you were zoning out and you're kind of facing your own demons right now. So it sucked to lose this character who, just had this one episode, but it was definitely a great one. Very surprising. I did not expect it, like I said, to be 100% flashback where he's telling the story of kind of how he came to be the Morgan that he is now and how he came back from the destructive brink. So I thought it was fun. And then he leaves the wolf at the end of the episode. And the wolf is really in the same state where the guy's like, oh, you think that can happen for me? And then he basically says exactly what Morgan said, like, I'm going to get out of here, and then I'm going to have to kill you and everyone else because that's, those are, I believe he said those are the rules. And Morgan was like, that's how I'm still alive, which, as Eastman put it, that's, the biggest load of crap he's ever heard, because it is dumb. You don't have to kill everyone and everything to be alive. And same thing goes for the wolf, where I don't know how those are the rules, but, that's just what they are. So, good episode for sure. I'm excited for the next one, but this was definitely a nice look into Morgan's sort of transition in between the last season and I guess the one before that. So it was very nice. It was very fun and just very interesting insight and very nice dialogue wise, because it was mostly dialogue. There wasn't really any action in this or any tension. And initially I was a little upset because I was like, there's so much stuff that's going to happen this season, and they were just blowing it out of the park. Like, it's just been insane for like the past couple episodes. And this one really, toned it down, and it was very dialogue heavy. But it was definitely a great episode. Like, I was looking forward to just more chaos. 'Cause I'm like, it's The Walking Dead, so people can die, which we've kind of seen. So I was looking forward to like some more insanity, but I don't mind this. Like, by the end, not even by the end, it was like, it probably only took like 10 minutes, and I was like, I like this episode. It was just cool to watch, and then it just got better, and it was just a really nice episode to watch. But of course, I want to know what you guys thought about it, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts, and I want to know what you guys thought of Morgan's transition from sort of this crazy version of himself to now the seemingly clear-headed pacifist. And I definitely want to know if you guys think that he is 100%, because like I said, when he switched back and it was basically the end of the episode, and this was also like an hour and a half long episode. I didn't mention that, but when I was watching it, and like even when it went to the first commercial and I was fast forwarding, I was like, this is an hour and a half long episode. And I thought that was really interesting. Like, they took their time to make this a longer episode. I'm assuming that was on purpose, and they did that before the season even started, and they had it set like this is going to be a longer episode. But I had no idea it was going to be that way. I hadn't heard that from the last episode, like in the promo or anything. But I was very shocked by that. They took their time for sure with this story, and it was really good. And I don't know why it ended up being an hour and a half, rather than, the typical hour, but it was definitely great. And like I said, I want to know if you guys think Morgan is truly 100%, because he reverted back at the last minute. And just because the guy died and he seemed like he was in full pacifist mode and we've seen that, I just don't know. It seemed like it was just so late in the game. And of course that was also before Eastman died, so that probably was like the final shift. But I don't know, it just seemed like too... It seemed like there's just enough for it to be open to speculation for me. So I'm assuming he's going to be the pacifist, but now I'm a little cautious about it. But like I said, I want to know what you guys thought, so please comment below and let me know. And thanks for watching.